Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinoxe television, broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, as end-of-year festivities draw near, the population in big cities as well as remote areas in the Republic of Cameroon worried over insecurity, rise in crime wave in the Cameroonian society. In the meantime, authorities are stepping up security measures to ensure a hitch-free celebration of end-of-year festivities. We shall talk about this in this edition of the news, and we'll also talk about the profession of lawyers, or better still, the practice of the legal profession in Cameroon, which is being reduced to minor litigations, according to Senator Kmer, a member of Cameroon's upper house of Parliament, and we'll get details from him in this edition of the news. The United Nations is calling on the government to ensure adequate access to Tigray in Ethiopia, and that is the part of the country hit by security tensions, and the United Nations is expressing more or greater concerns about the security of civilians in Tigray region. Stay with us. There are growing concerns about security of inhabitants of big cities as well as hinterlands in the Republic of Cameroon as end-of-year festivities draw near, with high crime wave being observed in the Cameroonian society. In the meantime, authorities are also stepping up security measures to ensure a hitch-free celebration of end-of-year festivities. It is, of course, the situation in Banga in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the country, where security and defense forces as well as administrative authorities are stepping up measures, but high crime wave is still a major problem, a major preoccupation of inhabitants of that part of the Mongo Division's Manjik and Gebe report.
At the police post in Banga, two young men, Malco, 26 years of age, and Tama, are behind bars after harassing inhabitants of Quarter 13. Amongst the items that Commissioner Honoré Disake caught with these gentlemen were a mattress, flat-screen television, desktop, gas bottle, and 2 fans. One of the accused say, "My wife was about to put to bed and unable to provide for the things she will need. I decided to go and steal. I am begging for forgiveness." Amongst them was also a lady who had bought some of the stolen goods. At the Gendarmerie Brigade, still in Banga, Zilin Assis presented 2 persons suspected in stealing from cocoa farmers. I stole sheets of zinc because I was hungry, and also stole a 50-kilogram bag of cocoa seeds, which I sold to Anu.
For Anu, how many bag kaka for the 50 kg?
After his office has received several complaints from farmers that the two fell into the drag net, one of the victims also lamented.
Overtip for my cacao. Anytime there is also tip my cacao.
They always steal my cocoa seeds, and I hardly enjoy my sweat. I went to the palm plantation where I caught him with my zincs and other belongings.
I don't go look at my pass bush for cacao, go na for play with Bangade. I want come and meet away to come off for bush, which is my zinc where we don't move all my horse, which is all cacao where inside the pot. All these and this way they don't when I don't see them for them.
The alleged thieves who are still under custody will help in further investigation, while the victim happily took his items back home.
Less than 7 A member of Cameroon's upper house of parliament, Senator Henry Gamze of the Social Democratic Front, says that the legal profession in the Republic of Cameroon has come under serious attack in recent times, with the legal profession being gradually reduced to minor litigations, in his opinion, according to what is being put in place by administrative authorities and laws that are also in favor of reducing the practice of the legal profession to minor litigations. Take a listen to Senator Kmer. He spoke to the Inside.
Happening now is that the lawyer's domain in Cameroon is being eroded on daily basis. It's eroded on daily basis. And the unfortunate thing is that the state, the government that is supposed to protect its own professional lawyer, is equally participating in that erosion. Come to think about it, formerly we used to have litigation over land matters. When individual neighbors, they have litigation, conflict over their land, parcels of land, they used to go to court, and the court the evidence will be adduced, and the court, trained magistrates will adjudicate over those issues and give judgment to the person who deserves judgment. Nowadays, what has happened? That particular domain of litigation has been taken and given to the administration. Land consultative boards are presided by a non-lawyer, somebody who is not a lawyer, or somebody who is not trained to handle disputes, who is not trained to assess evidence with the eyes of a legal practitioner, is now adjudicated over land matters and given. That's why every day we have conflicts over land. Even the decisions are appealed against, and some people, even though the judgments are given, land certificates exist, but they are cancelled on daily basis because of all those. They are poorly managed at the level of the litigation process before the land consultative board.
And there are also issues of taxation and security, or better still, criminal experts.
That is not only that. Come to think about even the communal land disputes. That's why you should have inter-village land disputes between one village and the other. It has been given to committees that have been created when the villages are within the same community, the same subdivision, by commission. The commission has been created, headed by the DO. If it is between two divisions, headed by the SDO, between two subdivisions, headed by the SDO, between two divisions, headed by the governor, those commissions they do the jobs of lawyers, and they do decide over things that could have been legal issues. Come to think about it, when government department have matters before the law courts, the bar law has been crafted by the government, and they have been given the right to play the job of to represent the various government departments before the court. There are other domains where there are no lawyers. They have given the domains to the agent d'affaires, and even in the towns, agent d'affaires to have right to do what the lawyer does officially, what the lawyer is supposed to do, of representing clients and being paid for representing those clients. That's the lawyer's domain. There are other experts who have been created now, like criminal law experts. We will think that they were created just to be called upon as experts to come and give evidence, or to come and go and work on behalf of the court, or investigate and get evidence, come and produce in court as an expert, so a lawyer can use it. But they are instead coming and defending individual clients and be taking fees from individuals and defending them as if they are lawyers. They have created their own association, which is equal to the bar association. Almost to the bar association. And the most embarrassing situation is that they are wearing wigs. Their attire carries a wig, of which the wig, they don't know the tradition, they don't know what the wig symbolizes as far as legal practice is concerned. They are given the right to wear a wig, and they take oath, and they're wearing a wig that belongs to a lawyer traditionally, and they don't know the symbolism of that wig. They are there practicing as lawyers. They are other than them. They are fiscal experts. That's in overtax matters. People consult them to defend them in place of a lawyer to defend them. But meanwhile, the lawyer is supposed to be the one to conduct fiscal litigation. And then if they need anything from an expert, they invite an expert to come and give expert evidence to throw light on that issue, as far as the court is concerned, to give better judgment, not to compete, not to represent people.
And I asked Senator Kmer, where is the origin of problem, or what is the origin of the problem? According to him, the problem emanates from what he qualifies as bad laws. Take a listen. Are any of those issues you're highlighting illegal? The experts coming in to act as lawyers, are they illegal?
In fact, that's why I say the government is supporting. We have even magistrates who are awaiting posting. They call them auditeurs de justice. They have the right to defend clients over some criminal matters before the court when they don't have any court that governs them as far as that activity is concerned. So you don't know exactly, you don't know where we are going to. Where the lawyer's profession is invaded, the lawyer is being raped from every angle. The lawyer's profession is being raped from every angle, such that at the end of the day, it will just become a skeleton of what a lawyer is supposed to be. The Cameroonian lawyer will become a skeleton of what a lawyer is supposed to be elsewhere. That's why we are saying, let some of these associations, they should be given the chance to get to the lawyer's field, absorbs people from all walks of life. You could be a doctor, you read law, you come and practice, you can specialize. Eventually we will specialize. Let all those fiscal experts, all those taxation, the customs experts, they should have a degree in law and come and practice as specialists in those domains. There's nothing wrong about that. But that they should go retirement and create a core where they will be attending to clients without the clients being able to enjoy the benefits that they enjoy when they're dealing with lawyers. Because the lawyers have a core and they go through some discipline. They go through how they relate with the client is governed by law, and there is a disciplinary core the disciplinary bar council that sanctions a lawyer who does not protect the litigant, who does not protect his client, who exploits, who one way or other does not treat his client well. They sanction that lawyer and they make sure they do some justice to that client.
But the functioning of those institutions,
those institutions, they are not controlled.
Those experts, are they not backed by the law?
They are backed by the law, but what we are saying, they are backed by the law. That's why we are saying.
So you're saying that the laws are bad?
The laws are not good. The laws are crafted with an intention to erode the lawyer's field of activity. They are created with an intention to help some class of persons have a job after they have served the government, to be able to exercise their technical know-how as professionals in a domain that lacks control. As far as the legislation is concerned, you don't make the legislation that they are created as they are fiscal experts or they are experts in customs issues, but they don't have the structure like the Cameroon Bar Association has to protect the litigant when he is caught in a web vis-a-vis his so-called expert. You see, it's only the government that will come in and maybe through prosecution that they will now control. But then we have, in the bar, we have the code of ethics, the internal rules and regulations of the bar that govern the lawyer's discipline vis-a-vis his client. That protects the user of the services of a lawyer. It protects him because when there is any default by the lawyer, he is sanctioned. These other cores that they are creating, be they the criminal experts, be they the fiscal experts, be they the customs experts, do they have such a core? They are just created to be freelancers, to operate in the vacuum, to operate in the air, and they do anything and go unpunished.
Senator Kmer, the member of Cameroon's upper house of parliament, is talking about the challenges that the practice of the legal profession in Cameroon is facing as a result of what is considered as lawyers as an attack on the legal profession, notably coming from the administration and what is qualified as bad laws. And now we're going to take you into the markets to take a look at the Christmas fever, and because our traders are complaining that business is witnessing a slump, and they are attributing the situation to the coronavirus pandemic and the Anglophone crisis. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
Less than 72 hours to the celebration of Christmas, just a handful of persons can be spotted at the Douala Central Market in the economic capital Douala, trying to purchase items for their households. The market, known for its busy nature during the festive period, rather looks scanty. The coronavirus has crippled the economy. Parents are now interested in paying their children's school fees rather than buying clothes. Things are really hard. Many traders were unable to travel due to travel restrictions, reason why the prices of items have increased. Added to the devastating consequences of the coronavirus pandemic, some other traders blame the Anglophone crisis.
la crise anglophone nous a pénalisés.
Majority of our customers come from the northwest, southwest and far north regions. Traders in these regions used to come and buy goods from us. Now it is different. A lot of them are now living in bushes, others displaced. We hope that the crisis will soon come to an end.
Non. Les fêtes sont finies.
The few customers who are in the market decry the increase in the prices of items. I have made more than 3 hours in the market, but I have not bought an article. I have 4 boys at home waiting for me. Things are really expensive. By the way, if I cannot afford what I need, I will just go back home. Some traders express optimism that things might change at the last minute.
Regional council authorities have been elected in the 10 regions of the Republic of Cameroon after the December 6 regional elections in the country. In the South region, we have Emmanuel V. Elemva, who is the president of the regional council, Alim Abubakar, president of the regional council in the North, and of course Kalbasu Daniel, president of the regional council in the Far North region of the country. Timievuna Gilbert, president of the regional council in the Center region. Dr. Foka, who is the president of the regional council in the West region. Banlok Polycarp, who is the president of the regional council in the Littoral region, and of course Dr. Mohamadu Dewa, president of the regional council in the Adamawa region, and of course Bakuma Elango in the Southwest region is the president of the regional assembly of the Southwest region. Musa Blaise in the East region of the country, and Professor Angwa for the third in the Northwest region. We'll bringing to you greater details on this in a subsequent news edition. On to something else, the nightmare of traveling between Ntui and Bachenga in the center region of Cameroon is now over. The long-awaited bridge over River Senegal linking the localities has been inaugurated by the Minister of Public Works. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
Less than 20 kilometers is the distance that separates Bachenga from Tui, but traveling between the subdivisions required the time for a journey of several miles. Not only was the horrible state of the road a major difficulty to travelers, users had to face the challenges of crossing over the River Senegal using the ferry, which constantly had mechanical problems.
Il y avait des journées, vous arrivez là, vous trouvez que le bac est de l'autre côté, vous attendez là pendant 1 heure ou 2 heures de temps.
Users say they had to spend hours waiting for the ferry on one side of the river Senegal.
Et au retour, on nous dit que le bac est en panne. On était obligé de garer et emprunter la pirogue. Je vous assure, j'ai fait des prières avant de monter.
All that is, however, now history with the inauguration of a 400 meters bridge linking Tui and Bachenga over the river Senegal and the complete tarring of the 21-kilometer stretch of road between the two administrative units. The tarred 21-kilometer stretch is also part of National Route number 15 from Bachenga, Ntui, Yoko to Lena.
Depuis que la route passe, les populations sont soulagées. Les mouvements.
Mais Anatole Sugar of Bachenga says businesses have taken a positive turn in Bachenga since the completion of the tarring process. Crossing over the bridge with his entourage, the Minister of Public Works in Cameroon, Emmanuel Gano Jomesi, assessed the quality of work done and said he was satisfied and impressed by the performance of the construction company.
Je suis très satisfait de l'expertise, du professionnalisme de l'entreprise des travaux ainsi que des missions de contrôle.
The project also saw the construction of social and economic structures in Tui and Bachenga, notably the construction of a multipurpose youth center at Bachenga and the rehabilitation of the government high school Bachenga. And over 400 meters of stretches got rehabilitated in Bachenga and over 600 meters rehabilitated in the town of Ntui, according to Minister Emmanuel Gano Jomesi.
éducatif ou tout simplement économique.
The wish of the local inhabitants in the area is to see the tarring extended to the other stretches of the National Route number 15.
Environment stakeholders in the Republic of Cameroon are stepping up efforts to reduce emissions from deforestation and forest degradation in the Republic of Cameroon. This is what brought together the stakeholders from government, the private sector, and international partners like the Worldwide Fund for Nature in a 2-day workshop here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And today we are receiving Clotilde Gomba. She is the country director of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF. You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me to this newscast. It's a pleasure.
Right, for close to a decade now, the government of Cameroon has been striving to push through the RED Plus process, which is intended to reduce emissions from forest degradation and deforestation. What's your assessment of what has been done so far?
So far, I think the government has done well. When I mention the government, I would rather say the Cameroon as a country has done well, in the sense that the government is coordinating the process, but it's also working with stakeholders, as you rightly mentioned, from the civil society, organization, and the private sector. So far, they have been able to prepare a strategy which was adopted in 2013. They had support from the World Bank, from the Carbon Facility Fund, and now the process is a little bit going slow, and hence the intervention of WWF as a facilitator.
Why is it going slow?
It's going slow because of some little misunderstanding between the stakeholders on the one hand and the financial partner on the other hand. As I mentioned, the World Bank is the trustee for the Carbon Fund Facilitation, and also is also involved the KFW from German Corporation. So there was some misunderstanding about institutional arrangement in Cameroon and the prerequisite for the adoption of the final document of Cameroon.
So how is WWF helping the government to push through the RED Plus process in Cameroon?
Yeah, our support consists in making sure the government convene all parties on the table for discussion. Those parties, as I mentioned, include the civil society organization, and especially for the 2 last days, we have been working with the private sector to understand what they need, what is their understanding of the process, what they need to participate in the process, and also explaining to them what they can gain from the process. So the outcome of this discussion is that we are able to establish a roadmap for the future months, with the aim of having the process completed by June 2022.
Right, and how crucial is it to bring more private sector stakeholders on board?
As we rightly mentioned initially, we're talking about reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation. Most of the activity intervening for the development are based on nature elements, be it agriculture, logging, or even mining. Just to mention those 3 ones. So everything that is done in that area, in the search for growth for the country, is based on natural resources. And the idea here is to ensure that as we promote economic development, we adopt practices that limit the expansion, the geographical expansion of activities, hence limiting the deforestation and forest degradation.
Right, and we believe that the implication of the private sector will depend on the government's ensuring that the laws in place are reinforced, the environmental laws are respected. But of late, we have seen the government attributing some or more than 60,000 hectares of forest to an agro company to create palm plantations. What have you done about that?
Yes, as a technical partner to the government, we warn our partners on the risk of such a decision. We gave them all the financial implication, we gave them the social implication, we gave them environmental and ecological implication of such a decision. Obviously, they make a decision, but then by providing with the technical element, we are able to make them ensure that whatever they are doing, some measures are taken to ensure that this is sustainably done, and it's about ensuring compliance with the safeguard, social and environmental safeguard, ensuring that the benefit of local communities and indigenous people are safe, and we are following up on what they're doing. Luckily, the progress in deforesting the area is still slow, and we hope that at some point in the time, the area to be covered will not reach the 60,000 hectares we're talking about, because the area is at the vicinity of a national park, which is the Campo National Park.
All right, what will change if you succeed to push through and get more private stakeholders on board the struggle to reduce the emission from deforestation and forest degradation?
What would come out of this is that we would have two kinds of benefit. On the economic side, we will have growth that will be greener, and on the natural side, we have the area protected. The implication is twofold. It goes on forest, but it also goes on wildlife, because whenever there is deforestation or forest degradation, we're also talking about loss of the eruption of habitat for animal species. And this is a very big loss for the government, not only for the existent value of this animal, but also for the benefit of ecotourism.
And biodiversity is naturally adversely affected.
Affected and disturbed. And we all know that any resilient economy will rely on a nature that is not too much disturbed. So we need to make sure that the disturbance of nature is limited, and if it happens, that we take mitigation action that ensure that we go back to a normal level of how would I say, balance between nature and human activities. Because we're talking about harvesting the growth here. Make sure that the natural capital is maintained at the level that is needed for the country to be resilient.
Ensuring that development is sustainable.
It's sustainable, and then the country is resilient to shocks.
Thanks very much, Clotilde Ngomba, Country Director, WWF Cameroon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me here. It was a pleasure to be able to discuss this with you.
Thank you. Now in news out of Cameroon, the United Nations says it is increasingly worried about the plight of civilians in Ethiopia's Tigray region, and of course the civilians are suffering because of the armed conflict raging there between the Tigray Liberation Forces and the soldiers, the government soldiers who have been fighting for quite a long period of time in the Tigray region of the country. And the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, said two humanitarian assessment missions were able to enter the Tigray region on Monday. The United Nations is asking for more access into the region in order to be able to reach the affected population, and the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights said that due to restrictions it was not possible to investigate allegations of artillery strikes on population, and of course the situation there has been deepening for quite some time now. While the government is struggling to gain control of the Tigray region, the Tigray Liberation Forces have been continuously fighting to maintain their grip on that part of the country. And the United Nations said it had received consistent reports of artillery strikes last month on homes and hospitals in the town of Humera on the border of Eritrea. That's it for the first part of this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Talking Point up next.
Harvest time.
We're receiving a senior political scientist, Professor Elvis Ngole, who is the coordinator of the CPDM Academy, the CPDM political powerhouse. Professor, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babila, and it's a great pleasure to be back on Equinoxe. I would like to seize this opportunity to wish you and the entire Equinoxe organization and your TV audience Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance.
We thank you for coming. Prof, when I was calling you, I wasn't too sure because some CPDM communicators have been prohibited from coming to Equinoxe television. Do you know about that decision?
Well, I've heard something to that effect, but not that I'm aware that it exactly what are the circumstances. But as you know, the CPDM is a Republican party, a democratic party which believes in freedom, and I share in these values and these principles, and maybe what you're referring to has to do with a particular program or context or so, but I belong to the CPDM for its principles, for its values, and for its goals.
And some of the people have not been able to come here. Some of them who came were later faced some kind of disciplinary strikes on them.
Oh, I'm not aware that any CPDM militant faced a disciplinary order or sanction for coming here, because I was one of the rapporteurs of the last disciplinary council, and I didn't. I don't think there was any dossier that had to do with what you're saying, because the CPDM party believes in freedom, promotes freedom, and that is one of the core values of the party. And I think the CPDM is not the party that will stop the freedom or the liberties of others, not to talk of its own militants, because the party thrives on those values.
All right, Prof, let's go to the northwest and southwest regions, and why not the 10 regions of the country where the regional authorities have been elected. The elections took place today.
Indeed.
And what's the signal after that election as far as the implementation of the new decentralization code is concerned?
Yeah, Mr. Babila, to be frank with you, this day, the 22nd of December 2020, will go down in the annals of the history, the political history of Cameroon, as a day that has value, because with the elections of the executives of the 10 regions of our country, decentralization has been given more meaning, more value in terms of real, concrete effectiveness, and new powerful leaders have been elected in the 10 regions, such as has never happened before. So we are seeing with the elections of these regional executive bureau members today, decentralization is concrete, is effective, and we have new political leaders who have executive, deliberative, and legislative powers in their own region, something which has never happened in Cameroon before. And so decentralization has been taken another notch upwards. But at the same time, these elections have these elections of the new leaders, regional leaders, have signaled the effective launching of the special status for the north and southwest, because decentralization carries with it powerful advantages and powerful benefits and powers. But the special status carries additional powers In other words, more powers than the decentralization gives. And so the Northwest and Southwest regions should be happy that new leaders have been elected in the Northwest and in the Southwest today, and within the framework, the spirit and letter and the framework of the special status, these new leaders will begin work to ensure that decisions are taken at the levels of the Northwest and Southwest regions to be able to solve problems that are local, that are regional, problems that have to do with their ways of life, their cultures, their histories, their tourism, their sanitation, their health, their education, their legal matters, their chieftaincy, traditional, customary matters. These are what the special status gives. The chiefs have more powers and direct powers. The chiefs will be consulted on chieftaincy matters, and the regional councillors and their regional executives will enjoy the kinds of powers they've never seen before. But for the other 8 regions, or for all the 10 regions, decentralization has given powers to new leaders in the 10 regions to exercise these powers which hitherto were only exercised in Yaoundé. So indeed, with the elections today of these regional bureau members, power to the people is effective in Cameroon. Power has been devolved, power has been transferred, and I'm sure resources too will go along with those powers. Because
there are worries about the fact that the power and whatever the resources have been transferred to the people who have been or the institutions, or will be transferred to the institutions. The people will be elected. All of the people from the CPDM. And there are worries of a continuation of a system that, according to some analysts, has been unproductive.
No, those analysts, I think they're either, those analysts who say that it has been unproductive are analysts who are either pessimistic, or perhaps they think that with the freedom they've got, they can say what they want to say. They are free to say so, but really facts on the ground do not show that it has been unproductive, because here we are. The Constitution, the laws, and the President of the Republic has committed himself to a decentralized Cameroonian unitary state, where powers have been devolved and transferred from Yaoundé to the regions and to the local councils. This has become effective with the last municipal elections. It has become effective with the elections of the regional elections of December 6th, and today, December 22nd, we see more effectivity with the election of the regional bureau members. If this is not production, what is it? This cannot be referred to as lack of production or something unproductive, because we are seeing things happening on the ground which were not there before. These are developments. Powers are being given to the people. This is not a joke. These people are new leaders. They have powers in their regions, and with those powers they can do things, and they will do things in the region that will solve regional problems. So if anybody would say that this is unproductive, I think it's almost like it's tantamount to being in denial of something which is so clear, so concrete, and that everyone sees. It is better for us to say, let's wait and see. But I think that something has happened in Cameroon. Cameroon has changed because the Constitution wants it so. Cameroon has changed because the President wants it so. Cameroon has changed because the laws of Cameroon want Cameroon to change. And we are seeing this. This is production.
All right. I read an article recently, Prof, which said, I want to read it the way it is written in French. Les sécessionnistes mettent à prix plus de 100 millions les têtes de Elvis Ngolengole et Paul Tasson. The secessionists have put 100 million francs CFA for the head of Professor Ngolengole and Paul Tasson, the minister delegate at the Ministry of Economy. What do you know about that?
Well, I've been made aware of this, but as you know, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and I believe I'm a true patriot, and I believe in country first. If we have always stood for the Republican values, we've always stood for dialogue and the peaceful method of solving all problems. We've always stood for the defense and the promotion of liberties. And we've always stood for a peaceful solution to all problems. I think that if this makes some elements, extremist or secessionist elements, uneasy, and they think that my small head is worth 100 million, I don't think my head is that big to be worth 100 million. I always see myself as being
but why do they
simple Cameroonian.
Why do they want the hate of Professor Ngole and Paul Tasson?
Well, I think that I know Professor, I know Minister Tasson, Paul Tasson very well. I mean, and I think that both of us share the same values. Now, if perhaps these secessionists who have placed 100 million for anyone to take our heads, maybe they don't like people who believe in peace. Maybe they don't like people who believe in dialogue. Maybe they don't like people who believe in liberty. Maybe they don't like people who believe in the country. I believe in the country first, and country first before any other thing. And so those who disagree with belief in country, either they must ask themselves why. But I believe that in every part of the world where people are free, you must give country the primacy and the pride of place before any other thing. And if that is why they think that they need to place to put 100 million francs on our heads for anyone to take our heads, then I think it is a wrong approach, and I think that is wrong. And I hope that they will understand that they are dealing with their brothers and sisters who don't mean any, who see them as compatriots, and who hope that in freedom, in this, and in democracy, and in the spirit, in line with the spirit of the Republic, we will all work towards fraternity, brotherhood, national concord, and we shouldn't have problems. I don't see why one should use freedom to take away the life of another person, and I hope they will understand that freedom builds.
Political scientist, former member of government, coordinator of the CPDM Academy, thank you for joining us today.
It's a great pleasure, and once again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, and same to you, Prof. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Equinoxe is up next.